Hi, everybody. My name is Alexandra Fernandez. I am a second-year honors college student graduating in 2023. And today I'm going to be reviewing with you Roman art and architecture, which began in 400 BCE and lasted up until 400 CE. So let's get into it. So why do we care about Roman art and architecture? These are about half of the reasons why we care. So we are going to see the dome. We're going to see the creation of a professional army, which we didn't have with the Greeks. We're going to have plumbing through aqueducts, the creation of roads. We see the invention of the stadium and the establishment of the professional navy. So these are the second half of the reasons why we care. We see this idea of the republic, which becomes the foundation of our government. We have the orator's pose, the creation of the zoo, the invention of the male symbol. We see the Silk Road. We have this idea of verism, which is, as you can see, more natural and realistic, which is different than what we saw with the Greeks, who idealized perfection and beauty. And the idea of fatherhood. So what are the Roman art and architecture aesthetics? So the concepts we're going to see are heroism, Roman nationalism, and propaganda. In the sculptures, we're going to see this idea of politics and religion. And lastly, with architecture, which is what the Romans considered their most important form of art, we're going to see concrete decorated with marble, open spaces emphasized with domes, arches, and mathematical perfection. So right here on the left, we have Augustus of Prima Porta, and here we can see the contrapposto from Greeks. We also have the 1/7 ratio, athletic body. We have the orator's pose, calm expression, verism, and then we have the armor, which is used to symbolize his military power. And on the armor, we see propaganda, and the toga is used to symbolize his intelligence. And now you may be wondering why I'm ignoring this, but this little baby right here is Cupid. So Cupid, he's right there to symbolize his parentage, excuse me, from the gods. Right here, we have our Apsis, altar of Augustan peace, which was commissioned by the Roman Senate to honor Augustus, who was the first Roman emperor who also established the longest era of peace in European history. Right up here, we have the Pantheon, which I'm going to go more into detail in the next slide, which is what the Romans considered their most important work of art. And right here, we have the Coliseum, which is also known as the Flavian Amphitheater or the arena. And here we have the slaughter of Christian martyrs, reenactments of military battles, gladiators, military trainings, navy battles, female gladiators, and the showing of exotic animals. So the Pantheon, like I said earlier, this is what the Romans considered their greatest work of art. Pan means all, and Theo means God. So the Romans created this right here, which is the dome, which is the combination of perfection of God and the perfection of man. And we have right here Corinthian columns, which symbolize the Republic. And the Senate actually met on the front of the Pantheon to discuss politics and make laws. And why did they never meet underneath the dome or inside the Pantheon? Well, because we have this idea of the separation of church and state, and they are actually the first culture to come up with the idea that the laws that govern humanity and the laws that govern religion should be separate. So the architect who created the Pantheon, we aren't sure if it was Apollodorus of Damascus or Hadrian's architects. So Hadrian was so upset with Apollodorus's criticisms on domes, so he actually ordered him to commit suicide. So our impacts on the modern world. So through the Romans, we have the creation of malls. The first mall was actually Trajan's Market. We have sports, which we have the creation of wrestling and boxing. We also have sports fanatics, since we have stadiums, and we have gambling. And with advertising, we have the first form of daily gazettes, which were called acta diurna. And then the Romans would also paint in red letters on storefronts to advertise spaces for rents or just to advertise a store. We also have impacts on law, because we have the establishment of preliminary hearings, which we still have in our law system today, judicial system. And we have the idea of a republic, and we clearly say, when we are saying the Pledge of Allegiance, to this republic for which it stands. And we also have the highway system. So as the Romans created the roads, they also created the first highway system to connect Roman cities. So that was a little review I had for you. Here are my works cited if you ever want to read up more on some of what I mentioned. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.